Hello, everybody. Welcome to Feedback for the week of May 14th. We've been playing a lot of Diablo 3, but we're not going to be talking about that. We're talking about rumors and E3 predictions. Welcome to Feedback. We have not slept in 24 hours edition. We have all been playing Diablo 3, except for Steve, because he has responsibilities like children.
Max Payne.
Yeah, he was playing
And
Max
Max
Payne.
I have responsibilities like Max Payne 3.
Which is a phenomenal game, 5 out of 5.
Jake.
Diablo 3, also 5 out of 5, I'm assuming. Yes.
I don't think we have the review.
No,
up
we don't
yet,
have a review.
but-
You know why? Because Blizzard
go ahead
wasn't
and
really
make
all
that
that great
call.
about giving it to people early, so we can't
Or on
review.
time, really.
Yeah.
So, it's neither
I'm
here nor
sure
there.
it'll be a 5 out of 5 based on our own experiences, but we're not talking about that stuff today. We are talking about E3, specifically rumors leading up to E3. So I figured we'd kick it off with the 10 words or less. We're going to start our own E3 rumor. Nicole, you first.
Sources indicate that Kaz Hirai will be a playable character in PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale.
Okay,
No
not even.
way.
So just
Whoa.
we're not doing 10
That
words
was
at all,
about.
right?
I rounded down, but that
Okay.
was 10.
All right, great. Also, is that founded at all, or was that just an incredibly creative thing?
I'm incredibly creative.
Okay,
So,
well done.
yeah.
And I hope that gets picked up and gains some traction, because that's a great rumor.
You heard it here first.
Steve.
This rumor is actually true. I have found out that the head of Valve Software, Gabe Newell, doesn't actually exist.
Whoa.
I like that. He's like the Tupac hologram of
He's-
E3 press
Well,
conferences.
he's actually an audio animatronic puppet that was put together by the Henson Workshop.
Right.
Because Valve needed a figurehead, so they thought, we'll create the perfect figurehead. And they created the Gabe Newell,
Wow.
the Newell 5000.
Could you imagine how much different children experiences would have been at Showbiz Pizza if Gabe was the one playing the keyboard and not the monkey?
Better.
Just Gabe Newell rocking out to the synth. The Newell 5000.
The Newell 5000.
I like that.
The
yeah.
head of Valve figurehead.
Well done, Steve. Donnell, what about you?
Well, rumors say that Donnell's going to find his player 2 at E3.
Okay. I love how you whisper
Possibly.
directly into the microphone so everybody can hear it.
I know, it hit his mouth. So you can't read his lips while
Exactly,
he's
you know?
saying it.
Would your eHarmony profiles, there's an uptick? What's going on? Why do you think that?
Well, you know,
'Cause clearly
I'm
you're the
getting-
one that's created
I'm
this
getting
rumor.
a lot of more followers at my Twitter, the Donnell Zone, which you can follow.
Okay.
And, you know, it could be even a booth babe I could possibly hook up with. So you never know. Rumors say.
I gotta say that I want to pull back the curtain a little bit here. We have a meeting about this show every week, and every week we pitch to our bosses, let's just let Donnell talk for 35 minutes straight, and they always say no. But I think we can all agree that would be an incredible show.
I agree.
I think the legality of the situation is that he will state something that we would eventually get sued for. But
Eventually, though.
But it'd be so good,
Yeah.
right?
It'd be worth it.
Until
Yeah.
then,
Worth every penny.
well,
Worth every lawsuit.
I hope things work out for you, Donnell. Okay, don't do that to me anymore. My rumor is this: Ridge Racer. I think they're gonna make a Ridge Racer game. I got a feeling.
Next gen.
Yep. And it's going to be the game that they announced to sell that next gen system. Nobody's done it before, but I think it's a really good PR move.
I think so.
So
You
pay
might be
attention,
onto
Sony.
something.
Yeah, and maybe
I know
for the
you're
next,
hurting, Sony, so
maybe
this could
also
be-
some sort of like African wildlife simulator. These are just things I'm throwing out. I don't know what's going to happen, but that would be you want to win the press conference.
of Africa.
I think
The white Morgan Freeman
that would
right
be
there,
the voice over for the African safari simulator.
Let's play a little game
Did you
here.
play
You
Africa?
do the intro. Let's pretend the Donnell Zone was the Twilight Zone.
All right.
You do the VO for the intro to the Donnell Zone right now.
Picture a man, a strange one, sitting to my left. What is he thinking about? What's going on inside his mind? Welcome to the Donnell Zone.
that was pretty good. That was pretty good.
And Donnell has an erection now.
And
When things are weird.
that's where we're gonna move
Let's
on.
talk about rumors. First thing we'll talk about, this is probably the biggest news, I think, not only from last week, but I think this week as well. BioShock Infinite was set to be released in October. Now it's being pushed until February 2013. Ken Levine said the added time is going to aid them in making Infinite exceptional, but industry analysts think the game was pushed to make room for GTA 5. Look, it is well known that Ken Levine only wants things to be perfect, right? So I do think that there's a lot of truth to him saying, look, we just want more time to make it incredibly, incredibly good. But what do you guys think about the other side of things with analysts saying that they were trying to push it for GTA 5? I feel like the expectation and the level of expectation for BioShock Infinite is so high that they probably didn't give a shit what was coming out around them. That's my own personal opinion. But do you guys think that Irrational took that in consideration? Do you think that's true at all?
I mean, I definitely believe that Ken Levine wants this to be perfect because I believe that. But I just don't think that 2K would really care.
Right.
Like, I feel like they gave him a deadline and they gave him a ton of money. I feel like they probably will have expectations of themselves. So I think, while I think GTA 5 coming out this year would be fun, I don't think that's likely. I think it's more likely that they are going to add multiplayer to this and add an online pass so they can make that extra $10 on used copies of the game.
Right.
It's a trend we're seeing, and I think 2K has kind of spoken out against it in the past and saying they'd rather focus on making more replayable games rather than forcing people to pay extra. But BioShock 2 already had multiplayer, so it wouldn't be that far-fetched if they were to add it.
Right.
And really, they're only taking a 4-month extension on the release date. So how much can they really add in 4 months to make it perfect?
Right. And to your point, Irrational Games is seeking a network programmer for the BioShock Infinite team. They're looking for somebody who can help them with networking aspects of BioShock Infinite, which would indicate that there is going to be some sort of multiplayer component
you'd think.
in whatever capacity. However, I think that they're probably going to try to take as many steps away from BioShock 2 as possible. I think
It wasn't bad.
Yeah, but it also wasn't good.
Well, there's that.
But my thought would be that they're trying to take as many steps away from that as possible. However, the idea that even if you're creating the most incredibly intricate single player experience is great for gamers, the idea that they wouldn't have any sort of multiplayer in this day and age is probably a bad idea. So I would agree with you. I think that that's probably going to be some of the things they're adding in the future. But Steve, do you think that this time off was necessary? Like, do you think that the game is going to be that much better in, like Nicole said, the 4 months that they now have to work on it?
I kind of think both interpretations of the delay are horse.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I do.
Interesting.
I think, number one, that GTA's audience and potential BioShock Infinite audience are so different that
Same
I
publisher,
just
though.
don't. Yeah, but I don't think that the two are related. And number two, I don't think there's going to be multiplayer in BioShock Infinite.
At all. And why do you say that?
Because
I'm persnickety. And I
I'm
want to disagree.
persnickety.
And I want to disagree with you.
Because I want to disagree with you, and I want to disagree with you too. No, I just think that Ken Levine that's not the focus of the game, and he has built up the reputation through BioShock of being able to basically do whatever he wants by selling a lot of copies, making exactly the game he wanted. And I just don't get the sense from him and from his past games that multiplayer is something that would fit well into the world that he's trying to create. I could be totally wrong. I mean, like any interpretation of a rumor, who knows? But it's just. I think that they would want to avoid it seeming like the multiplayer in BioShock 2, which was kind of an add-on and regarded as inessential even by people who thought, well, it's okay. You know?
I mean,
I
BioShock
think they
2
wouldn't
was,
wanna
in
have
my
that.
opinion, an add-on to BioShock
Yeah,
1. If I had to take it,
But the
to that
multiplayer
direction.
was particularly disposable, so to say.
It wasn't
Okay.
bad. It just wasn't necessary.
Right.
All right, and Donnell, let's take this in a different direction. Let's assume that both of these things are true or false. It doesn't really matter.
Right.
What would another reason be why they've delayed the game? Let's start our own rumor here.
Right. I think possibly DLC content. We see in games nowadays is that they're coming out with DLC content the first day, and they definitely want to get that ready to go because they're trying to stop players from getting the game, playing single player, and then throwing it away.
Selling it.
Which they also include multiplayer, right? To that replay value. But creating a DLC ready to go day one or even kind of planned out like kind of how Modern Warfare 3 is that they planned out every month you're going to get a DLC content. And with that business model, you're going to keep your players keeping that game because in their mind, they're going to be like, oh, it's another month, it's another DLC. And so expanding that in the story mode or in multiplayer is definitely something that I think Kev Levine wants to try out and he wants to get it perfect. And that's why it's taking so long. It's he making sure that this online pass, like Nicole said, is everything that players will want. And if taking extra 4 months, it's not too bad. I'm sad. It sucks. But just to get that extra completed DLC and multiplayer, I'm fine with that. I just hope they don't do like Capcom DLC and be like, oh, you want the true ending? You got to pay an extra $10. Then I'm kind of like, that's messed up. Or it's on the disc, you know?
Steve, do you agree or disagree with all of that?
I agree with parts of it and disagree with other parts of it. I think that there might be some sort of chapter-style DLC that comes out, but I don't think that's delaying the game. I just don't think that they would delay this long in production, very ambitious game. I think really the reason the game is delayed is because it's very, very ambitious, and that they've bitten off a lot, and they just want to make sure that the presentation, that what they put out, is equal to the ideas, which are so mind-blowing and fantastic that, you know, to deliver on that promise would take a lot of work, and I think maybe 4 months more than they thought.
Okay.
Well, I was listening to the Irrational podcast when they interviewed Amy from Naughty Dog.
Which, by the way, is a great podcast.
It's great.
I
It's
highly
fantastic.
recommend watching this more than any other one, but
as soon
it's
as
a
you're done with
fantastic.
this one.
Yeah, it's a really, really, really good
Head over
podcast.
there.
But they were talking about how a video game narrative comes together, and it's not how you think at all. Like, there's no script that's been written ahead of time. It's kind of step by step and completely out of order. So, I mean, and knowing that I know so little about how video game narratives are put together, it seems like the process takes way longer than not that it should, but that I expected it to. So I think I think 2K would be really pissed if the only reason was because they wanted to have more time to finish the narrative. I get why it would take so long.
Sure.
Because they just do it in the weirdest order.
Yeah. I mean, it really is like it sounds to me like in my limited experience as well. But the conversation I've had with people, the game design and the mechanics and the kind of the engine dictates in a lot of ways where the narrative goes, depending on what they can and cannot do. Which is a really interesting way, like you said, to design things. I think we can all agree, though, it had nothing to do with GTA 5. And these analysts, I guess I could be an analyst and just say whatever I want, because I just think that's like super unfounded. Not to poo-poo on anybody's opinions, but
Poo-poo.
really, yeah, well done. But really, I mean, do we clearly like we live in a world now where 2 AAA titles can come out. I'm assuming Diablo 3 and Max Payne are both gonna do quite well, and
Different publishers, though.
yeah,
I think 2K, if this comes out in February, or Bioshock in February, then GTA's like to come out in May. Rockstar likes to release games in May. So I feel like that's a really close.
yeah,
3 months is pretty close.
they're gonna both make a lot of money,
Yeah,
and I don't think it had anything to do with the game. And speaking of games, I'm going to move forward a little bit down here on this list because I want to talk about Beyond Good and Evil 2, maybe being a next-gen launch title. This interests me because as of this moment, and things could change, but I think Jessica and I are hosting the Ubisoft press conference, and we've been in a lot of meetings about what we think that what we think is gonna be the case. What they're gonna announce and things like that. And both of us, have said more than once, man, it would be really great to have Beyond Good and Evil 2 and be able to talk about it. So what we've heard is the game is currently in active creation, according to Michel Ancel. He says, I can say that it's a very ambitious game and we need some tech to achieve that ambition. This, along with other quotes about the unwillingness to announce a launch year, leads many people to believe this title will be a launch title for the next generation of consoles. So on the one hand, I feel like if they're not gonna announce any next generation titles, we may not hear about it. But I'm really hoping we are, because I know people are clamoring for this year in and year out. If Morgan was here, she'd spend 10 minutes talking about how much she wished that game would be here. But I think people want it so bad, it's going to happen, right? So,
Well, tell that to Kingdom Hearts fans.
yeah, but
exactly.
Kingdom Hearts will come out at some point. Like, these are things that we know will eventually happen. Like, unless the world ends tomorrow, like, these games will come out. The question is, will it come out? Are they going to talk about it all this year at E3? Do we think this is going to happen?
If it's a current gen, well, first of all, active creation, like that could mean anything. That
Right.
could mean
Yeah.
like there's
They're
a
thinking
post-it
about
we
it.
that
have
says, "We'll do
the
this
font of the
soon."
title,
Yeah.
and we know what
That
that's
can-
going to look
It
like.
can be anything. If
Yeah.
it's going to be a current gen title, I think there's a real possibility that it'll be talked about at Disney 3 because we first saw that cinematic in like 2008.
Right.
But if it's a next gen title, we're not going to hear a single word because there's just no next gen console yet.
Right.
Until
right.
those are announced, we're not going to hear about it.
Right.
I think Beyond Good and Evil is a weird case because everybody, like a certain cult following, loves the first Good and Evil game or Beyond Good and Evil, but I don't think that translates to gamers at large. Like I don't think there's as big a fan base as it can seem within the echo chamber of the gaming community. So I don't know whether they would take like that's not a system seller. I feel like as a launch title, like I don't think anybody's going to buy a new system because they can play Beyond Good and Evil 2, or I don't think that many people are going to.
I don't think it would be an exclusive
Oh, I agree 100%.
Yeah.
You think it would be like a
multi. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wii U?
Multi-platform.
Okay.
Now,
can
we've
see
heard
that.
so many rumors, the Durango thing, right? Like Microsoft has said, we're not going to talk about next generation consoles at all. But it's like the worst kept secret in the industry. And I think even in the public at this point that, this is happening. So my thought would be maybe they could announce it, but not really talk about any specifics. I feel like it's an opportunity for Ubisoft because people go into these press conferences thinking Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony. And then there are the other ones. But this is a good opportunity, I think, for Ubisoft. Regardless of how big or small the cult following is, this would make news.
It would be surprising. And I feel like Ubisoft, obviously, if it's a surprise, I don't know about it. But I feel like I know everything that they're going to be talking about. We have Assassin's Creed. We have Far Cry. Like, this would be an opportunity for them to, like, just really wow people and catch people off guard.
Sure. And, in a year where most people feel like this E3 has already been planned out, I think it'd be a great opportunity for them to really pull the rug out from people. Do you think this will be important for them?
I would have to disagree. Is that I think they're not going to announce that without the details backing it up. Just saying that, hey, it's coming out Beyond Good and Evil
That's
for
what
the
they
next
did in 2008,
gen.
though.
Yeah, but
They-
that was
they-
4 years ago.
They showed a cinematic with the pig guy.
With flies in the snout.
Right.
You think they knew that again? How many times can you tease people?
First of all, that would be hysterical,
It would be
and
really
I would
funny.
appreciate
Someone-
that to an extent.
if they show the same trailer again.
That'd be awesome.
Well, if they did release again, like I feel like the model behind announcing a game is that instead of just saying, hey, it's coming out sometime without being really developed, really costs a lot of money to do. Like I can kind of relate this to like Final Fantasy versus 13, where it was announced way ago, like in 2006.
Six, maybe? Long time. Maybe not 2006.
It was it's like
2007?
a 6+ year game, right? But that's because they just said, yeah, we're making this game without really developing it. So
Well, it's like
they
the new
weren't
Super Smash
planned.
Brothers. All there was for that when they announced it was a JPEG.
Right. And I think it's just like
Which is all they needed.
it's not a good business model because you don't know, you're not realizing what you're working on now and in 3 years. So you're just announcing something that you're like, well, we can't get to it now. We don't know, and it's costing us a lot of money to develop because this is a huge game. And with that, I think Beyond Good and Evil 2 is something like that, where they kind of messed up announcing it way too early, and they're paying it by like, we're developing this, we need a new tech, we need something bigger, and I think it's costing them a lot of money. So for them to announce it this year, I don't think it would be a very smart thing
In their best interest.
until the next gen really
right.
pushes out there. So that's my opinion.
StarCraft Ghost. Still want that game, by the way. Still want that game.
Yeah, it does happen that people tease games and they don't.
Yeah. Absolutely. A couple interesting points that you guys both brought up, and it actually leads into this great fan feedback question we have from Matt Gillette. Matt says, the rumor that Beyond Good and Evil 2 will be coming out as a next-gen title makes me very hopeful, albeit cautiously hopeful. Because of this, do you think it's possible that some other highly anticipated games, such as Kingdom Hearts 3 and the supposedly canceled The Last Guardian, are going to end up being released as next-generation titles as well? Or the reason that these things no longer talked about is because they're holding out for the next-gen titles? It's a great question, Matt. And Steve, what do you think about that?
Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming out on October 13th.
Okay.
Wow. All right.
Thank you so much for that.
No, it's actually not.
You're
Is
lying.
that
I was
your,
lying.
your special
I
mind
was trying
calendar
to, I
that
was
you
trying
have
to
in
start
your
a
house?
rumor.
Oh,
Since
I
that's
like
the
that.
topic of the show.
That's how it is.
Yeah, again, I think that when they're putting together a launch slate for a new console, they're really looking to hit all the different bases and get something from everybody. And but I wonder if the games that we've talked about, Beyond Good and Evil 2 and Kingdom Hearts 3, are actually as much base hitters as we all think they are because we're in the gaming community. You know, Kingdom Hearts I could see, but
Kingdom Hearts definitely.
We do hear quite a bit from the fans about that. I mean, we joke about it, but the fact of the matter is like we get it. We know why people are asking about it. I think less so for Beyond Good and Evil, to your point, but Kingdom Hearts is definitely something I think that people would gravitate towards a certain system if it were announced for that system.
I think Kingdom Hearts would be a system seller.
Yeah.
If they could somehow get a PS4,
PS4
whatever it is,
exclusive.
exclusive, that'd be huge. Last
Right.
Guardian, I'm sure it's already a PS3 exclusive, assuming
Right.
it still exists.
Right.
So I think it will definitely be a next gen title.
so you see The Last Guardian as a system seller as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I personally, it's just not my thing because I don't like to cry. But some people are into that.
Yeah, and
Sure.
also
Frank's mom.
it's not trying to sell to the Western side. They also have to sell to their, the Eastern side, the Japanese, and so they have to come out with launch titles that maybe not sense to us really, but more in their demographics.
And
So
with The Last Guardian, that game, as far as I know, like is development's at a standstill.
right.
So unless it comes out the next year, it's going to be outdated tech. So it would have to be a next gen title.
Right. What do you think? I mean, what do you think about that, Steve?
I think that given, again, the ambition of The Last Guardian, that
Yeah.
it is a good bet for the next gen, although whether it'll be a launch title, I don't think we can really say because
I
it
can
seems
say.
like it's beset with...
Because we're just starting rumors here.
Yeah.
We can do
exactly.
whatever we want.
You know what?
Rumor-
The Last
you need
Guardian,
the right
it's a launch
tone.
title for the PS4.
Totally fine.
PS4 coming out November 2013.
You heard it.
Thank you for that, sir. That's right. That's Bailey's.
Boom.
That's not
That's what I'm
coffee.
talking about.
That's Bailey's.
I'm drunk. Let's go. Let's fight.
Drunk on power and level of intelligence.
And alcohol.
Well done.
But mostly alcohol.
Exactly.
But great question, Matt, seriously. And it's something that I know we talk about quite a bit around the office. Here's another one from EA. It's said to unveil a COD Elite equivalent for Battlefield at E3, which makes total sense. Battlefield Premium will land you a number of content drops with unique in-game items not available anywhere else. I'm assuming that is true.
I mean, it hasn't been confirmed, but yeah.
I mean, it's
gotta be.
got to be,
true.
right?
It seems really true.
Right. Thank you for that very non-committal
I'm just
answer.
surprised that it took so long for them to
Yeah,
announce something like this.
yeah.
Obviously, I mean, why do you think that was? Especially considering the,
It came out first.
I mean, Elite was so successful they could have massive events where people show up. I mean, why did it take so long?
I have no idea. And we knew about Elite before Modern Warfare launched, so maybe they just didn't think it would be as successful as it was. But I mean, Elite had so many problems starting out, and still garnered such like fan loyalty and respect, and they're still giving off or releasing content.
Sure.
Face Off is being released this week, so I mean, I'm surprised it took this long, but good for them for.
It makes me wonder if it's part of a larger announcement about the Battlefield franchise that's coming at E3. I mean, I don't have any reason to think that this is so, but maybe they'll announce Battlefield 4 and also this thing for Battlefield 3.
Sure.
Yeah.
I feel
pretty
like if
good.
they
Well-
announced Battlefield 4, it's like why continue to support Battlefield 3?
3. I think it would be more
Because
like
it won't be out for another year.
how about like Battlefield Bad Company 3, right?
love
Because
that
that's
series.
been a while, and a lot of people love that series, and it's a different game. You know, you have different players on that. And I think going back to the EA and the Call of Duty Elite, I think it's mostly like they're looking at what problems they had with Elite, and they're going to
Learn from their mistakes.
learn from their mistakes and fix it. Because when you're always competing, sometimes, you know, it's not about being first. It's all about realizing what that person did and then you doing it better. And that's how progression
America.
works in products and stuff
like
like
it.
that.
Good
Yeah.
answer, man.
It's all about being first for me, which is why I'm always disappointed because things never work out like that. Here's one that I was really looking forward to seeing you guys' opinions on, since you're such different experiences because of your different age groups. Lucasfilm registering 20 domain names pointing to Star Wars 1313. A separate trademark was discovered indicating Star Wars 1313 would be a video game. Lucasfilm is not commenting on the rumors. Fans are saying it's a Boba Fett game because that's what everybody wants it to be.
If we say it enough.
If we say it enough, but number one, what do you think this is? And number two, please God, let the fans be right about a Boba Fett game because that would be the. But what do we think? I mean, do we think this is?
Yeah,
What do
I
we think this
it's
game
Boba
is?
Fett.
You
I think it's
so?
a first person, maybe third person bounty hunter game.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I just think it's that simple. And I have no because we've heard nothing about this. All we have are these domain names, and they're just like people looking at Boba Fett lore and bounty hunter lore, and like this is it. I'm positive.
All right. And
I
who do you
have
want
no reason
working?
to think
Who
of
do you
that,
want
though.
working on this then?
So who would I want? Maybe Raven. So Activision. Does Activision and LucasArts work together?
Anybody will work together for the right amount of money. So
they did,
I mean, that's just the
Wolverine.
bottom line.
Wolverine
And
was
something like
awesome.
this is kind of like this is a guaranteed
Yeah.
seller right here. Steve, do you want a Boba Fett? Finally,
I want a Boba Fett game, and I want it to be a third-person action game, and I want it to be developed by Cliff Bleszinski.
Boom.
That's what I want.
Just him
really?
or Epic?
just
Cliff?
him in a room by himself with no other people.
Really?
Yes. No,
Bold.
Epic.
That's a good. I mean, that's an interesting.
right?
Epic would make a really good, or third person.
They don't make skinny
Boba
characters
Fett.
very well though, and Boba Fett needs to be slim.
Well, no, but he's
can
got
work it out.
a rocket pack. He's kind of
He's not bulky
Yeah.
though.
Well, he could be a fat, middle-aged Boba Fett.
Nice.
See,
Different.
we were talking about this the other day. And again, this is just Steve's generation. Boba's fat now, bro. Okay, that's what happened. We're not always 21-year-old college athlete bounty hunters, okay? Things change when you get older and have kids.
He's a
How
fat
did Jango
bounty
Fett
hunter.
age? He's a clone, right?
Yeah.
So
There's a lot of things about the Star Wars universe that don't make a whole lot of sense, so that's just one of them.
In the Boba Fett game, he's a fat bounty hunter and his feet hurt.
that's why he has a
love
jetpack
that.
now. He kind of just hovers.
And the ghost of
Bunions.
Walter Matthau does the VO for it. I think I want some of the team that made Dark Void to be a part of this game because the jetpack stuff in Dark
yeah.
Void was awesome.
You're right.
Just the rest of the game that wasn't that great. But ironically, we were this weekend. Epic was in town shooting some stuff for some of our E3 shows, and we went out with them. And Rod Ferguson tweeted out, "Blair wants to know if you guys could have Epic working on any game, what would it be?" And like a lot of people wrote him back and said a Boba Fett game. So Epic was like, and we immediately started talking about who would you poach from other people. And Rod actually said, well, those people that made Dark Void, their jetpack stuff was great. So there's a chance, man.
It could actually happen.
That Cliff and a dude who made jetpack tech could be in a room together at some point talking about this game.
Wow.
So
Cross your fingers.
you're welcome for that, Steve.
Yeah,
I know, backing
and
you
they can
up.
take the idea of making Boba Fett a fat middle-aged guy who's feet hurt. Like they can totally have that idea.
totally have
gratis. It's all
Harvey
right.
Picar can write it. It'll be amazing. It'll be absolutely amazing. How about this one? A source reports that Sony is in the process of recording a teaser trailer for Killzone 4 based off the alleged voiceover work. The game takes
We
place.
haven't heard it.
The game takes place after Killzone 3. 4 after 3. Okay.
Makes sense.
It's all adding up.
And I'm assuming this is a quote from the VO work. My sons and my daughters, today we take the first step toward our imperial future. Yeah. Killzone 3 did fairly well. So Killzone 4 is it a no-brainer?
I feel like it's a no-brainer, but I don't know if it'll be Killzone 4 or if it'll be a prequel or
Here's the thing.
a companion like parallel universe game.
Has
talking about a
Killzone
Vita game,
has
too.
Killzone came out on the Vita?
I don't think so.
I don't think it
I don't think it has. No.
Because I think that's probably the game.
Yeah, I
It's
think
more
that-
on Vita. Because I'm trying to think on E3. Sony, they're going to push, their
They're
PS3
going to push
games.
the Vita hard.
Vita. 'Cause,
Right.
I mean, and Killzone, all those exclusives on the PS3, they're going to bring it to the Vita. And you can play it with Killzone 3 people with the Vita.
Transfaring.
This transfusion. Sorry.
Transfusion.
Transfusion.
What are some other Sony games then that instead of seeing a proper console release, you think maybe their next big announcement will be
Well, we already
for
saw
Vita?
Resistance.
Right.
Yep.
So
I could see Ratchet and Clank.
Big
I could
Sony
see. I could see
games.
Ratchet and Clank. I know that
Yeah.
I know Overstrike is their first multi-platform thing, but I'm assuming that Insomniac does still have exclusivity deals in place with Sony. So Ratchet and Clank I think would be fantastic if it hasn't already been announced, and if it has, let's just cut that out in the edit because I want to seem smart. But Ratchet would be great. There's also that rumor that the new Jack and
Jack
was going to
Daxter?
also be
Daxter.
on the Vita, right? Has that been confirmed yet?
I think we just did.
All right, that's fine. It's a rumor show, so it's all good.
Yeah.
All right.
Don't get in trouble.
But you make a great point. I mean, maybe some of these titles that did okay on the PS3 could conceivably do really well as Vita titles.
Maybe Infamous eventually.
Infamous
Yeah,
on the
Infamous
Vita.
would be
That's a
great.
good one.
Yeah.
Yep.
And still, everybody should be playing Rayman Origins on the Vita. I'm telling you right now,
Yeah?
it's the best handheld game out right now. I know it already came out, but go and buy it. It's probably cheap now. What about this one? Another Dead Space title was nonchalantly mentioned in EA's financial call. It's mentioned in the call means the game will likely come out before the end of the fiscal year, so early in 2013. More rumors indicate the game will be playable at E3 and will be strikingly different with features like co-op. What do we think about that? Dead Space 3, of course. They're going to make a Dead Space 3.
Yeah,
That
so we
makes
know.
sense.
I guess we know that. Have they said it's going to be Dead Space 3 and not a prequel? Like, no.
They
so
said
No.
like another Dead Space game.
So I mean,
Another.
I feel like it could be a prequel. But I'd hate to see. I mean, personally, I'd love if it went more action oriented because I'm a gigantic wuss. But I think it would it'd be a weird change in path to suddenly not go horror.
Right.
So I don't know how much.
Yeah, and how does
much
co-op
truth
work
is
with
to this?
horror? I mean, co-op
Yeah.
horror doesn't.
Capcom done it in Resident Evil 5 with co-op, and they're going to do it with Resident Evil 6. And I always felt that when you add
But
co-op,
those games didn't have that like claustrophobic
Right,
kind of
and that's the problem
And
with
they also
Resident
didn't
Evil
just
games.
have Isaac Clarke. Like this is like one dude on this like creepy ass journey.
Well, I read on a blog that they thought that it would be a split personality thing.
Which would be amazing.
I have no idea how that would work in co-op though, because you're independent of each other.
Yeah.
But
I don't think it
if they
does,
can
but what a
explain
great
that-
I know,
concept.
right?
What a great
Maybe it
concept.
would work in cinematics.
I would like to have like one character, 2 players, each player controlling a different half of Isaac Clarke's body. Am I right? Am I right?
That's right.
No, you go back. You go back. You go back.
Just the gun stringer in space is basically just. I want to play as his dead wife. And I want to just haunt him the entire game. Everything that he's doing, independent of what he's doing, I just constantly haunt him and
Why
pop
didn't you
out
love
of
me
dark
enough?
shadows.
If you loved me, you would have saved
All you have
me.
is like sad, creepy dialogue options. You have no action at all. It's just how do you make this dude feel bad about the fact that you're dead? And if you make him feel bad enough and he kills himself, you
And
win.
then you win.
multiplayer. That's multiplayer right there.
Hopefully they don't listen to any of this because these are all really bad ideas, but fun to talk about in here. But yeah, Dead Space 3 does make a lot of sense. But I agree with you. I'd like to see maybe a prequel take place. I want to see because I read the comics. If you haven't read the comics are fantastic. But the comics do happen. Some of them anyway. I don't know how many they released, but the ones I read kind of led up to some of the events that Isaac was experiencing, and the comics are really. There's a lot of lore there that I think they should try to
Just
explore.
a whole universe they could explore.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, but also like within the canon.
Yeah. I want to get back into this is just a fantastic rumor that ERJ5388 says. So I've come across a rumor that points to Rocksteady crafting a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, which would be amazing. Do you guys think this rumor is pure fact or fiction?
Okay, so
Let's hear it.
Michael Bay's coming out with a movie called Mutant Ninja
Teenage Alien Ninja
Turtles.
Your
big
childhood
boobs,
means nothing to me.
big explosions.
Turtles.
Right.
Right.
When you have a movie like that, you're going to have a game because you're going to have that. I mean, same thing with Battleship, right? It's coming out now. It looks like a Michael Bay. It's not directed. I don't think it's directed by Michael Bay.
No, Peter Berg.
But
Don't tell anybody I knew that.
But there's a game for it too, and especially with this is like just kids, teenage. They're gonna get the game too because that's what teenagers do nowadays. Now, Rocksteady creating that.
Yeah, they don't
That
make
would-
movie games.
Yeah, so I kind of feel like yes, there will be a game, but not Rocksteady creating it.
I think
Yeah,
I
I mean,
remember,
Rocksteady, it's obviously they're
first.
going to work on another Batman game,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
They're probably already doing so. They
Exactly.
probably announced something
Arkham
at E3
Block?
about it.
I think
Arkham the Block.
This reads more like what somebody wishes who's a really
No,
big
I've-
fan of
Right.
the
Like
Teenage
Boba
I've
Fett
Mutant
read
game.
Ninja
this
Turtles.
rumor as
What
well,
was that of
and
me?
then they had they had some pretty good evidence to support it. But I'm pretty sure that at a toy convention, like a poster revealed that Activision would be working on the next Ninja Turtle game,
Mm-hmm.
and like nothing was announced, but like. For some reason, things keep slipping at toy conventions.
Mm-hmm.
Who goes to toy conventions? Like, really though? People do. But oh, I'm sorry.
Answered,
But it sounds
Thank you,
like
Frank. So bad, both of us.
that's really. I know a lot about you guys now.
Yeah. I got a lot of glass cases in my house that I need to fill with stuff that I'm going to look back on 70 years from now and go, why would I spend money on that? Who needs a ceramic Wolverine?
my life.
Sorry, kid, can't go to college because Dad needed that Deadpool figurine. Sorry, Nicole, what were you saying?
Anyway, I think Activision's going to be making the companion movie game for the movie.
Right.
But I definitely think that if anyone were to make a kick-ass Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle where they weren't aliens, it would be Rocksteady.
All right. Who's developing the base production companies doing the movie? But what do we know what studio? Because there's always parent companies involved, and unless it's Warner Brothers, because I know Rocksteady is obviously working
Yeah.
closely with Warner Brothers. If it was a Warner movie, then maybe. But
Right.
But I know Rocksteady's. It can't be such a big studio that they could work on 2 games at the same time. And if they're not working on another Batman game, I'm gonna be really pissed off. But like they are.
They're working
Right.
on the Superman game, so whoops.
Another
it's
rumor.
that
Yeah.
slip.
Well, the good news is the bar is set so low for Superman games that they could devote 6 people from their team to making anything better than the that was Superman 64.
Superman is man.
Flying's
poor
hard,
guy.
okay? It's difficult to fly in games.
And plus, he's Superman, so nothing can hurt him. And
Well, Kryptonite.
Except for magic and kryptonite.
Yeah,
so
but-
you just have you have magical beings invade the earth where every single magical being could hurt Superman. Problem solved.
But then, what's the
Boom.
point of him being Superman? He could just be man.
Mediocre
Lame
man.
man.
That's like real life, man. That's the game of life. And that sucks.
Well, I mean, Batman's just a dude. He's just a really
He's a rich dude.
Wow, he's Batman.
Yeah.
You know, I'm aware.
I'm just saying. He's
Batman.
pointing it out. He's Batman.
We've come up with some terrible ideas
I
for
know,
games
man.
on
Oh my
this
God,
show,
it
guys.
really
All right,
is
This is why
the
we're
worst
here.
ideas
we're
that
running
I've
out of
ever
time
heard
here, so I'm just going to get a couple of opinions of some. We're just going to quickly cycle through some rumors. I want your immediate responses to this. And if you want to perpetuate or maybe start another rumor based on what you've heard, you can do so. Just keep it really short. Right?
Right.
See what I
Yeah.
did there?
No.
Set rules that we won't follow, just like 10 words or less.
Wasn't listening.
All right, here we go. Start with you, Nicole. Thanks to leaked domains, it would seem as though SimCity Social will be EA's next major Facebook game. True or
No
false?
brainer. True.
True?
True.
And why?
Because it's EA. Every property they can put on Facebook, they will.
Okay. And I meant to follow with ... should we care?
No.
All right, good stuff. Leak screen, Steve. Leak screens show off what could be a current-gen Thundercats video game.
Yes.
You excited about that?
No.
Okay. Donnell, a source close to the game says Call of Duty Black Ops 2 will have a companion Facebook game to help level up quicker.
Of course. Because you want to get that game out there, buddy. And that's how you do it.
All right, thank you for that. CD Projekt Red is looking for people to help them make a dark fantasy RPG, which is very clearly The Witcher 3. Nicole, I know you like The Witcher 2. Yeah, it makes sense. So we're going The Witcher 3.
Yeah.
All right, so that's a yeah. Okay, Steve?
I agree. Witcher 3, man. Rock and roll.
Super.
Sure.
All right.
Boobs.
I agree as well.
There's a lot of boobs in that game.
And-
I wrote the romance guide for that game. Just side note. Wow, I learned a lot.
Right.
Also, we wrote a romance guide to that,
Yeah,
huh?
I write romance guides for the vlog.
Did that? Oh, that made it so that's a professional thing.
Yeah, that's the feed,
okay.
yeah.
That's
That's-
Nicole's
I had that confused with like some side project that you suddenly wanted to bring to light.
Kind of, though. You know, funny story
That's
at a
the
time.
slash fiction.
Yeah,
Nicole,
right. An online retailer. This is a very interesting one. An online retailer listed Luigi's Mansion 2 as a Wii U title. What do you think about that
Nah.
one? No?
Nah.
Why not?
Because who cares?
Come on, Luigi's Mansion was awesome, man.
Yeah, but I mean, it's supposed to come out on the 3DS. So, what are they going to do? Just port it?
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
See what I did there? Just
Yeah.
fix that problem.
There you go.
What do you guys think?
I didn't think of it that way.
I'm with Nicole. I don't think it's going to happen because nobody cares about Luigi. He's the poor red-headed stepchild of the Mario family, and he gets passed
black
over
hair.
like Fredo in The Godfather.
Whoa. Way to mix some references
That's what
there,
I'm
man.
talking about. Luigi goes, I can do things. I'm smart. Not like
Wii U
everybody
was,
says.
I mean, Luigi's
Yeah.
Mansion was a pretty. It sold some GameCubes, right? So this, I mean, is it like a system
I
seller?
mean, it was a launch title, right,
yeah,
for
if
GameCube?
If it was yeah, it was a launch title, I believe.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, you had to buy it.
Okay.
You had to, yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Pretty good.
that much
I
out
liked
for the
Mario
GameCube.
Sunshine more. I'll say it.
That's fine.
Whoa.
Mario Sunshine,
I like
Mario Sunshine
Sunshine.
was very pretty. It was a very
was
pretty
nice.
game, and
And you
I
get to
say
clean
that
the city.
unironically. It was a very pretty game. Donnell, what do you think?
Yes, I think Luigi Mansion coming out on Wii U because you can have the little thing, you're searching for ghosts, and that's definitely what they do in 3DS.
There he
see?
is.
Mm-hmm.
I
That's how you
already
make a
agreed with you,
case.
but you have just sold me on that idea right there.
Right?
Way to go, man.
Thank you.
Okay, and last one. Box art from unreleased Halo 4 toys show unannounced 2 Halo villains, the Crawler and the Watcher. I'm assuming that we made those names up. Is that true or is that false?
It's true.
It's true.
I mean, it hasn't been announced, but I saw
But
the box art.
Yeah,
Yeah.
saw the
Yeah.
box art too. True.
Yep.
Didn't see the box art, but I listened to these guys because they're
Right.
But
smart.
I mean, they look like really boring, like mutated dog. Like, what are those doing in
Well,
my?
the Crawler crawls and the Watcher watches. So,
The Watcher watches the crawler crawl.
oh god, the Crawler is crawling towards me. Good news, he's crawling. We have plenty of time to figure out what we're going to do and how we're going to handle the situation. What about the Watcher? You know he doesn't get involved. He's the Watcher, man.
He's been watching me all
Just
day.
stands
man.
there
Yeah.
watches.
The bathroom part is weird, but the rest of it, the whole fighting aliens, I don't care if he sees this or not. It's fine. Good news is that we can go to toy fairs together
God, you guys.
and buy these.
That's
right,
weird.
Frank? Pew, pew, pew. Here's the weird thing. Frank doesn't bring his daughter to that. Don't know why. You think it'd be a perfect opportunity. Doesn't do it. You're almost as good a father as Steve.
2 of those rumors
I don't
just
believe
totally
in
made
toys.
up.
Also Quaaludes. And now I've mocked Steve's parenting
Yes.
skills and Quaaludes, so everybody is
Quaaludes.
happy. My rumor that I hope is true, because it is, we're doing a live feedback from E3 on Thursday, June 7th at 11 a.m. Pacific time. We want you guys to be there, but if you can't, get into the show. You can send us all of your questions too. We're going to have information on g4tv.com on how you can do that. Keep an eye out on the feed, Facebook, and you can Twitter the questions using the hashtag E3Feedback, and we will answer your questions. We're going to do 2 hours live. That's a lot of time to fill, so send us a ton of your questions. Again, that's June 7th. At E3 on Thursday, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we really do hope to see all you guys there. I know
You better be
we
there.
sit in here and we ask all of their questions all the time, and it'd be really great to meet some of these people. So please come out and see us. Again, thank you
They're
guys
gonna
so
love to
much
meet me, right?
for being there.
I won't
Ladies,
be there.
avoid the second hour, I believe, which Danielle is on. But you let us know when you're coming, and we'll try to work around your schedule. And again, thank you guys for being here. Every episodes go up every week on g4tv.com/feedback.